and what differentiates you from your competition, because why should people buy from you versus other people? And while price is an issue, you get what you pay for.
Yeah, absolutely.
So do you want Walmart or do you want Tiffany's?
Oh man, yeah. Well, the competition, I believe most people can outperform their competition if they provide great service. And it's funny, I think a lot of people talk about great service, and that'd be a great topic one day on The Naked Truth. But how do you beat your competition? So if our competition is our self, let's go down that bunny trail at first. So
okay.
And I believe exactly what you're saying. If the competition is me, how do I beat me? And I guess the only way is to get better.
Well, yeah, I've been reading a lot of different articles lately, for our Pivot 10 launch. And when we talk about the importance of pivoting, how do you beat yourself is how do you stay on top of what do your customers and clients want? So when you look at, and actually it's on our Facebook page, which is at, because our website's under construction right now. If you look at a lot of companies that have grown, they started out doing one thing and then they ended up doing something different because they were able to pivot and change and see what wasn't working or what customers weren't liking. One thing that I did recently for the coaching side of our business, because it's pretty expensive to work with me from a coaching perspective, there are people who want to work with me who say, I want to work with you, but I can't afford you, right? Which, in my opinion, people can always find the money to work, to have the things that they need and they want. But it got me to look at, how do I take what I have and how do I break that down into something that somebody can afford? So I took that coaching service that we offer, our annual program, and I broke it down into an a la carte series of products so that if you can't afford the money that we charge for the year, you can buy one of those services that are part of that big giant package so that I'm accessible so people can have some of what it's like to work with me. So I think you have to be open-minded to what your customers and clients are saying to deliver what they need.
Right. Well, when open-mindedness, I think with us being our own competition is that what you're doing, reading, we as entrepreneurs that are successful, I think our ego needs to be in check, and ego isn't always the negative. I mean, there's good ego, right? And I think by when we get our egos in check and we get our pride in check, that we help not eliminate, but we reduce ourselves as competition, right? We're more of a friendly competitor than we are an adversity. So working on ourselves is what I'm hearing you're saying is doing that. And that's one of the things that you do is help people work on themselves.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing your strengths and your weaknesses as a business. There are some things that we do really well, and there's some things that we don't do well. And I think especially early on in businesses, and maybe old businesses too that become complacent, you don't want to look at what your weaknesses are. And so you keep trying to be what you think you're supposed to be, or basically what you think you're supposed to be, when people want other things than you realize, or they see your other talent and you don't want to embrace it.
Right. What do you say to business competition? Why do some people outperform? Why do some companies outperform others? Statement like why I'll kick it off. I think that most people lose out to other competition, not because of price, because of their people within.
Oh yeah, I think people lose out because they don't create relationships.
Order takers.
Exactly, order takers, and not only are they order takers, but they don't follow up. They get the business, they take the money, they deliver the product or the service, and then they forget to follow up with you because they got their money and they're on to the next thing. Instead of, I posted this the other day too. The guy I bought my car from, he sent me an email, which I'm sure he sent to all of his customers with, it was a video of him on YouTube. It was a great video. And there's a whiteboard, and behind him, it's got his name written on it and an arrow over his head. And it's a sendmeafriend.com. And the video is like, hey, you know what? Word of mouth is the best marketing for me. If you know anybody that needs a car, send them my way. And here are the things, you know, for everyone you send me, you get $100. And send me 5 people, and I'll give you free oil changes for the year. And it's a constant reminder, not constant. It's something that we forget about, is to ask for referrals. I just had lunch today with a banker who she's looking for new business, and she's looking for small businesses. So, and I know her from Rotary, and I said, hey, let's go to lunch, because I have a lot of clients that are scaling their businesses and might need money. So let's go to lunch and talk about how I can help you.
Right.
Which is much better than her. She's like, I can't just show up at a business and try to get business. And I'm like, no, the best thing you can do is ask people if they know people who need you.
So much better. Even though when you trim that down, it's a cold call, but it's not really a cold call. It's a warm call, because
it's a warm call.
Referral, right? It's a referral.
Right.
You know, when we talk about competition now, you got to keep in mind, I think, competition all the way from the quoting to while you're working on the project to the finished product and the follow-up.
And the follow-up.
Right. So in the beginning for us, the competition with when we talk to in respect to Duplicates Inc., our company with print and marketing, is that when I get an opportunity to give someone a proposal on maybe it's a bigger project, right? Not business cards, but a bigger project. Not that business cards aren't important, but they are. But a bigger project, and if it comes to my desk, it's usually a bigger project. What we'll do is that send them immediately a handwritten note thanking them for that opportunity. You know, which I know 80% of my competition is not doing that.
No. Mm-mm.
If we lose a bid, typically we won't if we start that process the right way. But if we do, government, for instance, we don't win all the time because of pricing. But we can always send them still a thank you for that opportunity. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to be this. If something falls through and your supplier that you went with can't help you, please keep us at backup.
Yeah. You know, especially your industry. I'll get to that in a second. Going back to my car guy, right?
Yeah.
He not only sent that video asking for referrals, but he checks in on me. He text messages me. Hey, how's everything? How's the car? Do you need anything? Everything good? Just random check-ins to see how I'm doing. He's done with me.
Right.
But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to buy my next car from him, and I send people to him because I'm taken care of. And that's really what people want. Like, as human beings, we want to know that you love us and you care about us and you're going to take care of us, and we feel like things are going to be good in your hands. And for your industry in particular, I get emails constantly. Hey, I went to your website. Do you need any rack cards or any printed material and collateral? And just cold emails from somebody I don't know. And I replied to this last guy and said, hey, could you take me off your email list? I didn't know who he was. And he's like, and he's in Charleston. And I'm like, didn't sign up for your list. Take me off your list. Oh no, you're not on a list. I just went to your website and found your email address and thought maybe you need some printed items. And I said, well, the way I work, I usually give my business to people I know.
Absolutely.
So if you would like, and since we have a coaching division, I would love to work with you on your sales techniques.
Yeah.
And he said he was open to a conversation with me because he said he might need it, because I'm like, I'm not going to give you any business. I don't know you.
Well, ultimately, whatever it is we're selling, be it whatever widget it is that we're selling, it's ultimately going to help. It's designed to help people in some way, manner, solve a problem. Typically, that's why people buy stuff, right? Whatever the problem is, I could relate it back to even if it's a lady that has 30 pairs of shoes and she's buying another pair of shoes, it's to help her. It's to help her do something. It's help her to feel better about herself or whatever it might be. When we go and we're asking, our competition is asking you exactly that. Hey, if you've got any printing, right? Well, wouldn't a better approach be if you didn't even know me and I reached out and I said, hey, Gina, if you're looking ways to really expand your brand and drive revenues and decrease costs, would you be open to a conversation? Would that be more appealing to you than, hey, if you have any printing?
Yeah, it would definitely be more appealing to me. I would rather have a conversation with you. I look at every opportunity when I meet people, how do I get to know them and connect with them? So even today at lunch with a banker, right? I'm spending more time getting to know her personally than selling my services to her, because she can refer me too. I mean, I don't, and I never even brought that piece up because I don't need to bring that piece up right now. I'm going to spend time just trying to create connection and true authentic connection and see if we like each other, because I don't know, you also want to make sure that you want to work with certain people, and that goes for your customers too. I do a lot of talks, and recently I gave a talk on, does anyone have customers they wish there were not, they did not have as customers? Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't name them. Don't tell me who they are, John, but you probably have some customers that you could do without because, quite frankly, they're what we call PETA, pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
We call it the PETA factor. Like, the PETA factor can often cost you money because you're spending so much time and energy dealing with the customer that's hard to please that it becomes not worth it.
Yeah, right. And those are usually, those 20% of the customers that give you 80% of the headaches.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. One thing I'd like to talk about a little bit from a competition standpoint. Are you there? You look frozen. He is frozen. Okay. I love it when it's just me on the blab when someone's frozen. All right, so I'm going to continue to talk and hope that John comes back. For the few people, John is gone. Okay, maybe John will come back. So we're talking about the naked truth of competition in your business. And a topic that I like to talk about is partnering with your competition, if that makes sense to anyone. Partnering with your competition, because the reality is you are different from everybody else. So you're not exactly 100% the same as your competition. So you might find that your competition could be a great referral for you. They might offer services and products that you don't offer, or services and products that you don't want to be doing. So sometimes it's a great thing to partner with your competition. One thing that we did early on in our training, our corporate training side of our business, when we first started, we were doing improv-based only training, where we use improv in the corporate arena to improve customer service, sales. That's our primary, those two, and leadership, using improv as a tool to help people. I partnered with other, what I call more traditional training companies that did something different than I did. So it got me in front of other companies. Up here comes John. Oh, there he is.
I'm back on. For some reason, I have a little bit of a problem here around 2 o'clock every day. It seems like it shuts down for a second. I don't know what happens with the internet, but that's something we got to talk about.
It's really windy. It's really windy. You know what? I use my hotspot on my phone when I blab now because our internet's so unstable. I don't know why. To ensure a good connection, it seems like my phone is much more reliable. So I'm happy you're back, because I was like talking to myself, and I hate that. Otherwise, I'd be on Periscope if I like doing that. Right. I started talking about, John, partnering with your competition, right? That's a whole other kind of nuance to look at, is when you partner with competition. And what I started saying was that early on in our business, when we were doing training, that I partnered with what I call traditional training companies that don't use experiential learning. You know, they get up and they have content and curriculum and a PowerPoint, and they don't have the nuances that we have in getting people to learn by doing, by using improv or other interactive type of learning tools. So in order to grow my training division, I partnered with other companies that could get me in front of other companies.
Right.
And that became a win-win situation because I made them look good by giving their clients something new, and they made me look good because they brought me in, and that helped us grow our revenue. So what are your thoughts from like a printing industry? Is that something that you guys would ever do, is find ways to align yourself with competitors?
Yeah, early on business for me, I was naive, never did it. It was my first shot, and my partner and I, we were trying to be everything to all people, and we realized we couldn't be. So we aligned ourselves with some competitors that could provide some services maybe that we couldn't. Now with that, and my approach has always been that it needed to be an open line of communication. Like we both had to have the same moral compass, meaning that if we brought the person in, we understand that this new client is either brought in by me and my duplicates team or by my competition's team, and we have that mutual respect for each other. We don't try to go and cross-sell that customer on maybe a product or service that my competitor is going to the table, right? So with that identified and upfront, absolutely, I think that you ultimately show your integrity as a business person. You demonstrate that you're flexible and you're able to pivot, and that you just ultimately show that you're somebody that people want to work with, because people want to be successful integrity, people with integrity.
That's great, and it really it's a win-win.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely,
it's a win-win for scaling your business. Now, my friend Sean with the selling agency. We do some similar things, but we're very different. So we try to find ways to bring each other in and help each other out, and that becomes a win-win situation.
Yeah, I mean, she's great. I was just sending her a little invite if she gets it, if she could join on. It'd be awesome. Awesome to do that. Guys, if you're just joining us, you're welcome to The Naked Truth. We're talking about competition, how you can engage, how you can embrace it and go to another level. We've got a special guest, Gina Tremarco with Pivot 10, and Gina's coaching. She has improv. The improv in Carolinas here, and just awesome stuff. And we're talking about how we can really I don't want to say not worry about competition, but be tuned into them and understand your competition is what's going to help you ultimately go to the next level. Gina brought up a great fact that most of our competition is, some of our competitions, our biggest competitors ourselves. So when we're looking in the mirror or looking into the camera like this, I see my biggest competitor, John, and Gina has great solutions for that with her company. Gina, go ahead and let's go to another topic on it. And hopefully we're going to get, I just asked Sean to join us, so maybe she'll get on with us and we can go. Hey, Heather.
Hey, Heather. That is my bestest in the world, Heather. She's my business manager. So she's awesome. She's actually sitting across from me, so I'm happy that she's actually joining and listening. I was trying to take some notes. You started to touch upon, and I think it's a good topic, giving great service, right? Like that's another way that you're going to stand out from your competition, because I don't want to, I'm not going to make it a millennial thing. Let me just make it the times are changing and we're becoming so accustomed to online communication and hiding behind a computer and hiding behind emails and text messages. I think you touched on it a little bit by sending handwritten thank you notes, but it's like, how can you go above and beyond from a customer service standpoint. That's another thing I talk about when it comes to sales. We focus and pivot on how do you pivot from creating a good culture to having a good sales message to providing great service to really engaging your team and your leadership. You can sell all day long, but if you're not providing the service along with it, you're not going to ensure repeat sales or word of mouth sales. And so the mindset in selling your services and products should always be about the aftermarket. How am I going to continue to service this client so that they talk really great about me, so that I can ask for testimonials and referrals, and so that they'll come back and do other business, right? Like I look at a lot of our business, like, with Carolina Improv, people come, they take classes. Well, all those people who take classes work for companies. I hope that those people who work for companies would then say, hey, this would be really great for our business. So how do I continue to move them through the cycle because they've had a good experience from day one? But if they did not have a good experience from day one, it's going to be hard to keep them without, in the sales cycle with us, right? Because once you have that know, like, and trust factor with people, you want them to think of you as the person that they go to for their solutions. I mean, what do you think of that?
No, absolutely. It's staying one step in front of the competition is to, we've talked about always be selling, but it's not, sometimes people take that selling word as a bad thing, like you're just trying to get money out of people.
Right.
I really think it's about helping others achieve their goals through our resources. So with that, we need to be cognitive of their need, the problem that we experts can possibly see coming up, right? For us in marketing, and when we create marketing strategies for people, a lot of people want to just do an activity, a marketing activity with no science behind it. Why not track our activity to see what's going on so we can pivot and and shift if we can? Just doing some plugs there for you. And by doing that, we can also say, well, how did you get this idea of reaching out to these folks? Do you have some other friends that might be able to benefit, that aren't in your same business, but that could benefit from it? You have some friends that are in other industries that we could share this idea with.
Yeah.
And, people typically like to be the hero, not the zero. So when they have good success, they love to share that with their other friends. If we fail as business people sometimes where we don't ask for that, right?
Yeah, it's too bad Sean's not on this call with us, because she'd have some really great, insightful things to say. But I think that's probably one of our biggest weaknesses as businesses, including myself, is asking for a referral. Like, I've never sat down really with you and said, hey, John, who do you know in your world that could use some customer service or sales or leadership training, right? And I know you're doing a little bit of that too. But again, you and I are different.
Oh, absolutely. And one of my teams, it's that we lead is a little bit. It's significant in size. 5,000 people, and sometimes, as in leadership roles, when you have teams, you're not always the prophet in your own land.
Yeah.
So with that, knowing that is that I'm able to bring in a superstar, Gina, and she can help the team go to another level. Absolutely. So when you do ask that, I got about 5,000 prospects for you.
Awesome. Heather, did you hear that? John has 5,000 prospects for us. We're gonna write that one down. Fantastic. You and I need another coffee meeting.
Yeah, that's right. This week. I leave this. I just got back from Dallas, and I leave on Friday to go to Ocracoke. Have you ever been to Ocracoke?
What is an Ocracoke?
Ocracoke. So it's a place that you go and shuck okra and do a lot of cocaine. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's the southernmost island in the Outer Banks, and it's just a beautiful place. You got to get there by ferry, so from Myrtle Beach you drive about 4 hours north, and then you got to take a hour and a half ferry to it, and it's a little fishing village. That's beautiful. Check it out online, and we're going there for spring break with the kids, and just gonna have
Is that
Yeah.
one of
So
those? Is that one of those trips you can go on as a result of the other things that you do? I should be looking at.
no, this is one that I created. So
Okay.
yeah, but we recircle around about that as well. But
Okay.
that's absolutely true. It's but that's a fun thing. You know, we found that place, and it was like one of those places that the girls. I got two daughters, as you know. They could actually leave when they were about 12, and we went there the first time. They could leave like we did when we were kids growing up, and just we didn't have to worry about them on their bicycles and had fun. So the girls like it a lot. Has some good memories there. So we're going back to revisit.
Oh, good. Well, that'll be fun. Where were you that you were just kind of you posted a video of you laughing like a crazy man?
I was in Dallas, Texas,
Okay.
and at a corporate headquarters of a company we do business with, and you know, it's one of those things where, as you know, when you start up your business, you get a lot of people out there to say that that won't work, and those things, you know, you need to go get a job or whatever. And this is their corporate headquarters I went to, and I was laughing. Just that was set for a couple individuals that said to me that it was a scam, not real business, and it was,
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. That makes sense to me now. I just thought you were being crazy. Okay.
well,
Well, that's true. You're crazy.
but that's the competition deal, right? Is that you've got to do things that are different than your competition. I think you may have been there. I sat in this seminar that WMBF, the local Raycom folks had, and it was they were selling advertising, but they had these experts come in, and they did this little focus group, and they said, you know, in here, they pointed at me, what industry are you in? I'm in the printing industry. And they said, so you can name how many other printers and marketing companies in this market. And I rattled them off. You know, I don't know. I think I got up to about 20 before, because I know my competition. So he goes to the guy next to me. He goes, what business are you in? And he was an electrician, owns electrical company. He said, how many printing companies do you know? And he named 2. And then you can go on and on and on with that. But when we talk about marketing, we tend to do what our competitors are doing, right? Like, because they're doing that, we need to do it. We don't even know if
Yeah.
but we got to do what they're doing.
Well, it's such a great segue, because that was another thing I was going to touch on is we get so caught up in what our competitors are doing, and you have to know to some extent what they're doing, but you can't get so caught up that you're doing everything that they're doing.
Right.
Because then we all end up in a status quo of the same thing, and it doesn't make any of us unique to stand out.
I love that. I'm tweeting that one.
It's like you do really need to find ways to stand out. And I always get a kick out of it when I do something that might be abnormal from the norm of what somebody would do in the coaching industry or in the training industry. And people go, oh, nobody does that. And I'm like, great, that makes me different. It'll make people stop and think about, why am I doing, even like this new thing that we're doing, this kind of like a la carte pricing on coaching services. All the coaching world circles I've been in, they tell you exactly what to do and how to do it, and do it just like this. And if you're not going to be successful if you don't do it just like this. And then I said, since when have I ever been like everybody else?
Right.
I wouldn't be where I am today if I was like everybody else.
Don't you think if you look at most companies across the board that are successful, or most brands, that they're their own brand, right? They're not like everybody else. And that's significant, because that's where we recognize competition. Competition's on the radar, but competition doesn't determine where we're going or how we're going. They may influence it because we're cognitive of it, but we really just have it in it's in our peripheral vision, right?
Yeah. I look at someone like my husband's business with Carolina Home Exteriors, and you want to talk about a competitive, super highly competitive industry, outdoor exteriors, right? They do sunrooms and pool lanais, pergolas, things like that. And they're a pretty large operation, and they're probably, I'm biased, but probably, like my husband likes to joke, they're the best of a sorry lot. And the reason why he says that is because, construction in general is a challenging industry, especially with subcontractors. And they have a bad reputation because it's true. They show up when they want to show up. They have horrible communication skills, which drives customers crazy. So, customers come to expect horrible service when it comes to the construction world. And my husband tries to be a little bit better than everybody else, even when he has to manage with subcontractors who don't show up or communicate. But one of the things that he tries to be different is he tries to actually improve the industry by, when someone says, well, this guy was $500 cheaper than you, my husband will just say, great, who's paying for the permits? Who pulled the permits? Are they pulling the permits or are you pulling the permits? Are they insured?
Right.
Do they have a license? Do they actually have a brick and mortar location where they keep their trucks? Are they, there's this whole list of things, so that when someone comes back and says, can you match this other guy's price? My husband says no, because you get what you pay for. And my husband's not going anywhere. He's not going to disappear in the middle of the night like some of these other smaller businesses do. And, the other thing is, I don't want a customer who wants cheap service.
Right.
I don't want you working with me if you want cheap service from me, because if you're going to pay me cheaply, then I'm going to work. You know what I mean? My output's not going to be great.
Well, I 100% agree with you, and I think that those competitors that bring down their prices and they try to earn your business over price is just, they're not here for the long haul. And for me,
right,
I'm not looking for the clients that are looking for the best one. They just want to find the cheapest. If I ever hear that I'm looking for the cheapest, oh, dude, that's not me. If you're looking, there's a difference between the cheapest and the lowest cost.
Yeah.
Right. So because you could pay the cheapest guy to come and build your pergola, but the first wind that comes by and it falls down and it hurts my mother-in-law, then ultimately what's the deal? Right. It's costing me in the long run.
Right. And I don't want a customer who is either in a scarcity mindset in their business financially, or I want it really cheap. Well, if they want it really cheap, they don't value anything.
Right.
You need to value everything that you invest in.
See,
to be a customer of ours.
Right. Look, competition brings out the best in products and the worst in people. That's a quote. And then
that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, where I'll take that quote, where I think that they're going with is that people will work harder to make their widget better, but then sometimes competition. How many times have you had people or heard people at a networking event and they're talking bad about their competition? See, that's something I never do. I never, ever, ever speak badly of any competitor, because it comes back.
Absolutely. My husband has a competitor who negative talks his business all the time in a small community. I mean, it comes back to us, not just from business colleagues, but customers. That's another one. When you have a customer who is shopping and something like what my husband does, they are really shopping it because they're trying to actually educate themselves on making such a large purchase. I get that. But when you have those customers who are shopping and they happen to shop your competition, and your competition during that sales conversation then bad talks the competition, that puts a bad taste in some customers' mouths. So sometimes these customers show up at my husband's place and shares with him these negative things that this one in particular person is constantly saying. And, we've got their number.
Yeah,
Right? It just makes them look bad.
and it takes the high road, because honestly, you may hear that stuff about yourself, and this goes all back around, because someone that's green in the business world that hears bad about them, or they may take that road to talk about the competition. It really is bad. For instance, recently, because we're very we have different streams of income going on, and we're partners in some golf courses and real estate. Lately, I've heard a competitor is telling some of our clients that we're getting out of the printing business, out of the marketing business, and that's an attempt to bring trust down, right, and credibility. I understand, but I don't address it. I say, you know me, and it's one of our top clients. I said, you know me, we've been doing business for 12 years. I said, if that was going on at all, I promise you, all of my major accounts, which you're one, would know that. And that's the only way I addressed it. And then I went on to the next thing.
Yeah, and you know what, that to me is the insecurity of your competition, because they have to find a way to try to knock you down in order to get the work, and it's sad.
Yeah,
it's sad, because it's like, it's kind of me growing our business with multiple divisions. I haven't heard too much smack about me lately, but there are people out there who have smack to say because they're jealous. I don't.
Well,
I laugh.
What I heard that dogs don't bark at parked cars. So.
Oh yeah, okay. I had to think about that for a second. So that's true.
We weren't doing anything, and we weren't, in their eyes, competition. They wouldn't be talking about us.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the whole name. We're doing something right. We're gaining market share in my industry and your industry, and that's because we're doing the right things.
Yeah, and I don't want to get all political here, but because we're in political season, it's the freshest thing on my mind. You look at a guy like Donald Trump, whether you like him or don't, doesn't matter. But this is a guy who gets so much ridiculous amounts of publicity because he is a moving car. My husband said, I don't know if these stats are right, but that Trump has only spent $250,000 on his campaign to date. And I don't know where the other candidates are, but I know it's in the millions and millions of dollars spent on, on their candidacy. And this is the guy who gets so much media that I find it brilliant. And so because of that, right, people are going to say what they're going to say about him or anybody else.
Right. I mean, this
is not an endorsement for Trump. Vote for Trump. Yeah. Awesome. Can I be your VP?
Yes, absolutely. Let's fix everything. Okay. So
awesome.
I'm going to cut it myself short. If you want to keep on going and have some, maybe Dan Reeve or anyone else that's on, come on. I'd love for you to. I've got to go to a doctor's appointment, so everything is okay. Check up.
Well, I think we'll wrap up because other people haven't jumped in. Okay. So why don't we go ahead and wrap up, and for those who didn't jump in, well, you'll just have to jump in on Friday.
We'll be there Friday. So the important part of the Naked Truth, guys, is that at the end we try to get naked and we try to give you some real good tidbit of what we kind of recap. So, just to touch base, I think we talked about how do you get excited about competition is just be cognitive that they're there. Understand to set your goals and the way that you practice business that is in line with your morals, and don't really worry about them, but know that they're there. And the most important thing that I took away from today was our biggest competition is staring at us in the mirror. And I appreciate you sharing that we get take ourselves to another level with Gina's businesses. Gina, how can everyone get a hold of you and follow you and stay in touch with you?
Best way to get a hold of me is you see there one of the boxes, Pivot 10, pivot10results.com. Our website is under construction right now because we're getting ready to launch this new brand. So pivot10results.com. I'm going to put my name, also my email address down below. if people want to reach out to me, but that would be the best way.
Pivot10results.com.
And I put my email down there. Don't be spamming me, people, but you can send me an email.
That's right. That's right. Well, awesome. I appreciate you so much. I love what we're doing. We'll talk off camera about what we're going to do on Friday, since I will be traveling.
Okay.
And see how.
Oh, wait a second. Oh, yeah. You know what? Friday, I'm at the spa. I'm not available. Never mind. Happy Easter. I'll be at the spa. It's Friday spa day.
That's cool. Friday spa day. Well, we'll let everybody know where we're going to be and how we're going to do it and all that good stuff. It might be later in the evening. Maybe we'll get naked live from Ocracoke.
Okay, that sounds good. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.